Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Snackbox. Hope you all are having an amazing day because we have some amazing news for you about the upcoming fusion, which looks absolutely amazing. Probably one of the best fusions we had this year. And trust me, you're going to be surprised. But before we go over the kit, let's take a look at the graphics first. Look at this amazing design. This is what the Night King would look like if Game of Thrones was a anime, probably. The icy antlers, that's what Stag Knight wish he would look like. Amazing. The icy sword. Just great. I love this. Now, let's go over the kit. As you might have noticed on the background, it is a Shadowkin legendary champion, attack-based, Force Affinity, which is amazing, and I'm gonna tell you why. And the name is Yukimasa, Demon of Ice. I love the name as well. And yeah, so the A1 attacks all enemies, an AoE attack on the A1, which is amazing. Has a 25% chance of placing block active skills. This can be booked up to 40%, right? You get 15% from books and 20% damage. So block active skills for one turn. This debuff cannot be resisted if there is at least one enemy under a stun, freeze, sleep, fear, true fear, provoke, or petrification debuff. Instantly activates this skill whenever this champion skips a turn because of a stun, freeze, sleep, fear, true fear, provoke, or petrification debuff. Pretty damn amazing, right? You have a chance to place this block active skills if he gets controlled. He will instantly AoE with his A1 when he gets a turn. And that can be really game-changing, right? As you might have noticed just by going through his kit and the fact that he's attack-based, he will be a PvP arena champion. To be honest, pretty awesome A1. Now the A2 is a 4-turn cooldown, can be booked down to 3-turn cooldown, and it is an AoE attack that ignores block damage. I am so happy about this skill right here and the fact that this guy is Force Affinity, because it's really hard to deal with block damage if you don't have the meta champions like Galeus, Gizmag, and so on. So now that we get an attack-based Force champion as a fusion, that is huge. I've been so annoyed by this Sylvan Watchers Void Legendary that I don't know how to pronounce the name. Some people say Neve or Neva or something. I don't know. Well, the champion that I'm talking about is this one right here, right? With the block damage passive. I always said Niame, but I don't know. Apparently, this is pronounced Neve. So champions like this were really hard to deal with because if you build her in a protection set, right, you have a protected block damage that is really hard to deal with. And with this fusion now, everybody will have, or the people that are going for this fusion will have an answer to this, which is absolutely amazing in my opinion. The only thing that is important now is that this skill deals damage, really deals damage, that his multipliers are high enough to kill, right? Now the fact that he's attack-based is really getting my hopes high, because normally attack-based champions have decent multipliers, right? And you can also boost his damage with attack up, for example. But let's keep on reading. So this attack has a 75% chance, if booked, 100% chance of placing a freeze debuff on all enemies for one turn. This debuff cannot be resisted if there's at least one enemy under one of these debuffs. So again, he has a synergy with the enemy team being stunned or feared, provoked. So if that's the case, he doesn't really need accuracy, but also I would probably not build him with accuracy because I don't want the freeze to get wanded. I don't want to get polymorphed. To be honest, I probably just want to utilize this block damage ignore skill to counter those champions, right? I also asked in the content creator chat if he places the freeze first and then deals damage, but he's actually dealing damage first and then trying to place the debuff, so that is good, right? That makes sure he hits at least one enemy before there's a chance that the freeze gets wounded. So that is a good thing, but still, if you have accuracy on him, there's a chance that you get polymorphed or the freeze gets wounded. So either way, it's still an amazing skill because it's, flat out an AoE attack, no condition with the ignore block damage, and that is exactly what you want. But now it gets interesting. Revives one random ally with 50% HP and 50% turn meter if this skill did not kill an enemy. Revives all allies with 50% HP and 50% turn meter if this skill kills at least one enemy. So there we go, guys. I think this is the answer from Plarium in terms of an Shadowkin reviver. This is what the community has been asking for. It is just not the usual reviver that we are used to. It is a damage dealer that can revive, basically, which is pretty interesting. We have a few of those in the game, but most of them are mythicals, like Nice and Sigfront and so on. So this is quite amazing if you ask me. It's not a tanky support type of champion that can revive whenever, but we have a reviver now, basically, and it's a fusion available for everybody. So even on boss fights, where you can't kill enemies all the time, you will still have a single target revive, but you cannot choose which ally you want to revive. It's going to be random. But 50% turn meter and 50% HP is pretty good if you ask me. Now the question is, will we ever get a classic reviver for the Shadowkin faction? I actually don't think we will, and it somehow does make sense. I like that they are trying to bring more diversity in specific factions, right? I would agree that it would look weird if there was, a classic reviver in the Shadowkin faction, like we have in others, like, Duchess, Siphi, Python, and so on. So I like the idea of this type of champion that has a kit like a nuker, but can also revive. That's pretty cool. Now let's take a look at the A3, right? Attacks one enemy, so it's a single target attack, 4 turn cooldown, can be booked down to 3 turn cooldown, so all the skills are 3 turn cooldowns, which is great. Before attacking, steals all turn meter from the target. This effect cannot be resisted if there is at least one enemy under one of these debuffs. So again, synergy with crowd control debuffs. If that's the case, you don't need accuracy whatsoever. And now this is the part which is really, really strong. Also equalizes the target's defense with this champion's defense for this attack, which is amazing. Because think about it, if you hit, a tanky champion, death-based nuker, for example, which has like 6-7k defense, maybe he has increased defense too, right? So he's at like, I don't know, 10k defense or whatever. But with this attack, it doesn't matter because you bring that defense down to your defense, right, of this champion. And he's attack base, so has probably a really low base defense as well. You would probably end up at like, 3k defense or something, maybe even less. And you will bring the defense of your target down to yours. So it's absolutely amazing to get rid of tanky champions, right? So yeah, I really love this skill. It's a single target attack, but if this was an AoE, it would probably be too overpowered. But then he boosts his damage inflicted by the skill with the amount of turn meter that is stolen. So I don't know how this will work, how much damage you will get. If you steal 100% turn meter, will you get 100% more damage? If that's the case, that's pretty insane because you bring the defense down and then you also deal 100% more damage. Single target attacks, they usually hit hard. And I think this will be a one-shot for any champion, potentially. So yeah, pretty damn amazing if you ask me. Let's take a look at the passive now. Fills this champion's turn meter by 50% whenever this champion skips a turn because of stun, freeze, and one of these debuffs. So you can control him, but when he takes a turn, he will instantly use the A1, and also he will get instantly 50% turn meter. The only thing that he doesn't counter is sheep, right? You can sheep him, that's the only thing. And also, whenever this champion skips a turn because of one of those debuffs, their next active skill will ignore 50% of the target's defense. Crazy. This is crazy. If he gets stunned or whatever, and then he takes a turn, he uses this AoE attack, he will ignore 50% defense and block damage. So yeah, I really, really like this kit, and I think he will be an absolute beast in the arena. Very hard to control. The only thing that he's vulnerable to is sheep, right? Polymorph blastings, and the wand, if he, freezes himself. But other than that, looks absolutely amazing. And he also has an arena battle attack aura, 33%, but usually you want to have something else, right? Man, I think this is a banger. This is definitely one of those fusions that you don't want to skip if you need a champion like this for arena, if you need an arena nuker. But even if not for arena, he's a reviver, right? So you could theoretically build him tanky and just use him as a reviver if you don't want to use him as a nuker, or a hybrid build or something. I don't know, but you can utilize his kit in different ways, definitely, right? If you don't want to use him as a nuker, you can utilize his freeze and faction wars, his revive, his block active skills, and he's hard to control, right? But the best way is probably to build him as a nuker, as long as his multipliers are good enough. And I really hope they are high. I really hope he can smack. That's really what it comes down to in the end. For fusions like this or champions like this that have a kit like this where everything is, coming down to how much damage can he deal? Is it enough to compete with the champions that we already have? So yeah, absolutely amazing. I'm so happy about this fusion because I'm lacking block damage champions, ignore block damage champions, and this will be a blessing for my account. It will make my life easier. Now, will he be the absolute best top tier nuker? Probably not, but he will be a very decent pick in live arena, or just in arena in general. Now, when will this fusion start? The fusion will start on December the 15th, on Monday. That's when the fusion will start. We will get a fusion plan probably that day, maybe a day early. I don't know. We will have to see. And I'm definitely going to go for this fusion. And, I would advise or suggest everybody else to go for this fusion as well, and to get his soul too, because this champion looks amazing. He's, like I said, if this champion can smack, he's definitely a very, very good fusion. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this fusion. I will do a fusion plan for sure. I also can't wait to see some testing from the tier 3 content creators. And yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please hit that like button. It really goes a long way. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The YouTube algorithm is going to suggest you a video that you might like right here, and see you in the next one.